Apex Legends is finally out on the Nintendo Switch. However, is this port actually worth your time? Let's find out. What is going on, everybody? My name is Nico and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about Apex freaking Legends, baby. This game is finally out on the Nintendo Switch. It feels like forever ago when they announced it. Wasn't it like last summer during what was supposed to be the E3 stuff that they announced that this game was going to be coming to Switch? Like, it's been a long time coming for Apex to finally get ported over. I'm glad it's finally here. Trust me, I've been waiting for this. Waiting so long for Apex to make its way over to the Switch, because in the grand scheme of things, the Nintendo Switch really doesn't have that many fantastic first-person shooters, but this really helps it out quite a bit as a good competitive shooter. So really cool. If you don't know what Apex Legends is, it's one of the many battle royales on the market. However, Apex does things a little differently. Instead of there being, 100 people dropping in and you're able to party up with 4 people or go solo, things like that, there's 60 people and you're able to go in with a group of 3 or a group of 2 and you pick a character. Each character has different abilities and changes up how you will approach each match, and it's just a really good time. Honestly, tons of fun. And there's skins and stuff for every character, so like you'll end up having favorite characters because they have like their own quips and stuff and things that they say, and just you'll be able to identify with a certain character and relate to them, and you'll be just figure out which character's play style or just like which personality you enjoy hearing the most. So it's a really cool approach, and it's just a fantastic first person shooter. I will say that since reviewing this game, like I started playing Apex again on my Nintendo Switch for the first time in a very long time, and since playing it on my Switch, I've since downloaded it on my Xbox Series S and have been playing it there again as well. It is just a fantastic game, and I forgot how much fun it is. So I've been addicted to this game. Seriously, it's so worth your time. Now, Apex is much like all the other battle royales as well. There are constantly new content updates coming. There's a bunch of different maps that they rotate through, I think on a weekly basis. I've been out of the loop for a while, so I'm not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure it's on a weekly basis from what my friends have told me. So they rotate the maps through. There's new characters coming out all the time, new skins and stuff, new seasons, stuff like that. So there's tons of events and stuff that you can work towards and enjoy in this game. There's also a ranked mode where you can actually compete in ranked battle royale games, which I think is really cool as well. And then one of the biggest things for Apex Legends is that it is free. It's 100% free to play and download, which I think is fantastic. It gets more people into this, especially on the Nintendo Switch. It is a fantastic game to pick up. Now, how does it actually run on the Nintendo Switch system? So I think it's as to be expected, especially if you watch the gameplay trailers. It looked very muddy and just looked not quite as gorgeous as this game looks on every other platform. Like, this game is breathtaking on a lot of other systems. On my Xbox Series S, it is phenomenal. On the Nintendo Switch, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad, but it is muddied, a little blurry here and there, just because you have to do it to get that frame rate where it needs to be so this game can actually be played. Now, hopefully, we get that Nintendo Switch Pro that I talked about in a previous video at the end of the year, and Apex can get a little graphical boost on the Switch Pro, Maybe that'll happen, and it'll be fantastic, and we can play this game at 60 frames per second, because currently, it is capped at 30 frames. However, the graphics might be muddy, but the performance is perfect. Let me tell you, the performance for this game is freaking awesome. It runs at a very stable 30 frames a second. I have not had any frame drops. The worst is when there's smoke, and it's not even like the frames drop, it's just the smoke textures on the Switch really suck. I don't know if I have any videos of it, but the smoke textures on the Switch really blow. So I don't know if it was actually frame dropping or if it was just me observing and spending too much time looking at the horrible smoke textures. The game itself runs fantastically. Like, you aren't going to have too many problems playing this game on the Nintendo Switch. It's just the graphics are not quite up to par with what you expect from Apex on other platforms, which I think everybody that plays games on the Nintendo Switch at this point kind of expects. Nobody's expecting Apex to look as good as it does on the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, or even the new consoles or anything like that. We expect it to be dimmed down a little bit graphically so that we can still play it and enjoy it on the Nintendo Switch and take it everywhere. That's what we have over everybody else, is the fact that we can take it wherever we freaking want. So that is something you have to consider when playing it. Now, in terms of playing it handheld versus docked, this is a tricky one, because I always like to talk about this because some games really do differ depending on how you play them. So, docked, like I said, it's blurry, it's a little muddy, and it runs fantastically. Now, when you're handheld, the textures do look a little better. It does look a little more clean because you are running it in a 720 screen instead of a 1080 monitor or whatever you're playing on. So it does look a little cleaner on an actual handheld Switch instead of a dock Switch. Now, the problem with this is playing this game handheld is not near as comfortable. It's a very fast-paced game, so playing handheld with the little Joy-Cons and buttons makes things a little difficult. Now, if you have some sort of way to play it with your Pro Controller still, if you can get the Pro Controller in handheld mode, then, you know, more power to you. But if you're playing on a Switch Lite, it is something to note that this is just not the most comfortable game to play handheld, similar to games like, you know, Fortnite or other first-person shooters, Overwatch on the Nintendo Switch. It's just not super comfortable to play games of this nature handheld. So yeah, I definitely recommend that if you are going to play this game, it is docked, and if you have a actual connector, a LAN cable connector to connect this to the internet, it's going to make your life a whole lot easier, so that way you can have stable connection while you're playing this game. Now, there are some weird, like, mechanical choices that they decided to do with this game. For example, you have to manually go in and turn off the motion controls for this game. I don't know why they decided to include motion controls, because certain games on the Switch really do implement them well, like Splatoon. However, Apex didn't need motion controls. Never has, never will. So I don't know why they decided to include it and why they had it default set to be on. So you got to turn that off. I did it in the training section. And then you have to also note that the field of view is, I think, locked at 70, where you can expand it on other consoles even farther. So when you're playing crossplay, there definitely is a slight disadvantage, because you just by default can't see as much on screen as some other players are going to be able to. And I'm assuming that the reason that the field of view is capped in such a way is just because there is the graphical intensity of this game, and they wanted to keep the frame rate as stable as possible on the Nintendo Switch, so they just locked that field of view so that way you couldn't mess with it and screw up the frame rate. So, in terms of playing on the Switch, you do get some bonuses right now for actually playing on the Switch. You get a bonus Pathfinder skin, which is pretty cool. You get 30 levels in the Battle Pass or something like that. Because it's like middle of Season 8 Battle Pass, so they wanted to give Switch players a chance to catch up. And then they also gave double XP for like 2 weeks. So there's a lot of bonuses right now. If you have a Nintendo Switch and you're trying to get into Apex, this is a really good time to, because you get a lot of stuff right now for playing on the Nintendo Switch, which I think is really, really cool, because this is a whole new audience that previously wasn't available for Apex Legends. So giving these people a chance to hop in, get caught up with everybody else, and have a good time, really, really like that method. Then, like I said earlier, crossplay came out with the Nintendo Switch version. So crossplay is available. You're able to play with your Xbox buddies, your PlayStation buddies, your PC buddies, whoever you want to play with, you can play Apex with on the Nintendo Switch, which I think is just a fantastic thing. Every game needs crossplay. I've said this before in previous videos. Every game at this point needs to have crossplay, because it's just so crucial to playing games anymore. Finally, we're going to move on to the worst part of Apex Legends on the Nintendo Switch, and the worst part of Apex in general. Apex does not have cross progression. Let that sink in. Apex does not have cross progression. This is not a good time. It sucks, because if you've played Apex anywhere else, that is where your stuff is locked. So you can't pick up exactly where you left off on the Nintendo Switch if you wanted to give the Nintendo Switch a go, things like that. It's just a pain, because I really actually do enjoy this game on the Nintendo Switch. Like I said, I'm addicted to this game again. So if I would be able to play it in bed with the same progression that I have on my Xbox, that would be fantastic. However, that is not the case. You just can't. I don't know why they haven't updated the game yet to have cross progression, but they didn't. I figured that would be something that would be smart to roll out with the Nintendo Switch version, considering that there would be a whole new group of people downloading this game on the Nintendo Switch. But it is not there. It's not there for any of the systems, so it just really sucks that you can't move your stuff wherever you go. I mean, Fortnite does it. Even Call of Duty does it at this point. I can play Call of Duty on the same exact Warzone profile on my Xbox as I do on my PlayStation. Don't really know why Apex doesn't have this yet. So That is easily the worst part. So if you do play Apex on anywhere other than your Nintendo Switch and you plan on downloading it for your Nintendo Switch, just note you're not going to have any of your stuff, and it's worth just hopping in. If you just want to try it, see what it's all about on the Switch, you can play a couple games, test it out, and then go back to whatever console you were previously playing it on, because not having your stuff does suck. So as soon as they add cross progression, I will be all over the Switch. I will be playing it on the Switch again very frequently, but just because right now it's not there, I'd rather play on my Xbox where I have the Battle Pass and all that stuff. So definitely something worth noting. I don't know why my Switch just turned on, my screen just turned on next to me. So all in all, Apex is really good on the Nintendo Switch. Honestly, it runs great. It just looks a little muddy compared to the other versions of Apex, but it plays fantastically. And if the only console you have at your disposal is a Nintendo Switch, definitely worth picking up. It's free of charge. There's no reason not to try it out. It is a fantastic game, and like I said, I'm addicted to it. I'm really happy that they finally moved this over, because again, this gets a whole other group of people that were previously secluded and isolated from Apex Legends into Apex Legends. So really fun. But that is going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you found the video entertaining and helpful, and if you did, be sure you leave a like and smash the subscribe button for more videos like this in the future. Be sure to check out the Discord where people over there playing Nintendo Switch stuff all the time, and be sure to check me out on Twitch, Twitter, and all my other social medias if you're interested in keeping up with me, this channel, the stream, or anything like that. Like I said, that's it for this video. Hope to see you all in the next one.